The press up is a great exercise, incorporating a lot of different muscle groups throughout the upper body. We're having to really engage everything from our shoulders right down to our knees, including our core. So it's no wonder that it's difficult and frustrating for a lot of people. This is made more frustrating by the fact that the only option you're usually given is to do a press up from your knees. And the problem with that is, even if you can do 15 press ups from your knees, it's still quite a jump from that to a full press up. So what I'm going to show you today is some variations in between to bridge that gap between a knee press up and a full press up. So a good variation is to start with different heights of objects. So what we're looking at is the angle of our body in relation to the floor, gravity. So you'll have seen videos online of doing press ups against the wall. They're not much use. Try to find something a little bit lower that forces you to get into that position where you have to engage the core and the leg muscles and your chest and your shoulders to keep that strong plank position as you move down through the press up movement. We're going to have the hands just beneath our shoulders, not too wide, and then just coming down to the chest, reaches the table, and then back up. And we're going to build that up until you can do 10 to 15 of those, and then we're going to find an object that's lower that I can put my hands on to do this exercise again. So next I can use something like the back of a sofa. It's a little bit lower on my leg, and now I can try the same thing again with that. Same hand position, get in position on the balls of your feet, pressing down till your chest touches, and then back up. Practice this until you can get about 10 to 15 repetitions, and then we move to something lower. So my next option then, moving down again, is to possibly use the seated part of the sofa. So the cushion itself might be problematic, so I'm just going to move that out of the way so that I've got a nice firm base to put my hands on. Hand position remains the same, keeping the core nice and tight, strong plank position throughout. So same again, you want to build that up until you can get between 10 and 15 reps, and then we're ready to move to the floor. Now when you come to the floor, you might still find that you're not quite ready to go to a full press up from toes to hands. So a little in-between step that we can do is we're going to take advantage of the fact that our muscles can take more load when they're lengthening. And so what I mean by this is we can take more weight as we descend and move our chest to the floor than we can pressing away from the floor. So how we're going to accomplish that is we're going to get our hands underneath the shoulders, I'm going to get onto our toes, and I'm going to slowly lower to the floor. When I get to the floor, I'm going to bring my knees to the floor, feet up in the air, press up, toes back up to that tall plank position, down, knees to the floor, press up, toes down. So same again, work through that, see if you can build up how many repetitions of those descending press ups you can do, and then start to throw in some full press ups and see how you get on. Now the best way to do this is to track your progress. So we want to create progressive overload, and the way that we do that is when we start at the easiest type of press up, we're going to work up our repetitions until we can get to sort of that 10 to 15 range. Then we're going to increase the difficulty, so we move to a lower object. When we increase that difficulty, you might only be able to get 5 or 6 repetitions. So we practice until the repetition level comes up, then we increase the difficulty again. So we move to a lower object, maybe now we're back down to 5 or 6 repetitions. We practice until that builds up, and then we increase the difficulty again. And eventually, over the course of 4 to 6 weeks, you should be able to start seeing some progress and getting to do some full press ups.